you all. Well, Sugar, now you could come in. Now, honey, you can't. Baby, come on in here. Come on, they ain't holding you by against your will, are they? Come on in. Come on in. I don't know about you. Well, since you with them, come on in here. I don't want it said, Miss Maggie, turn away, just folks cussing their skin color. I'm going to leave that closed. Baby, can you pull that shade over there? I don't want folks looking in here seeing I got somebody white in here. Lord have mercy. If I had woke up and somebody would told me that I would have white folks in my place, I would have called them all kinds of names. Well, since you're here, come on in, baby. Come on in. Since you're here, I guess it won't be no harm to tell you a little bit about my hotel. Well, my name is Maggie Steed, and I own this here hotel. Sugar, y'all didn't hear me? I said my name is Maggie Steed, and I own this here hotel. Well, y'all should be proud of me owning a hotel and such in these particular times. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about my hotel, though. Henry, that's my husband. We owned a small house and had an extra room. And when folks came through, colored folks, as we was called, would come through and need a place to stay. As long as they wasn't cussing and acting bad, I let them stay here. And you know, we was doing such a good business, I said, Henry, maybe we should see about building a hotel. Well, Henry didn't like that idea at all. He even asked me, had I lost my mind? Was I crazy? Well, honey, I wasn't crazy. I was crazy like a fox maybe, but I wasn't crazy. So what I did, I don't know if y'all know it, but I make some of the best chess pies of Western Kentucky. Oh, yes, baby. And Mr. Orr, the man that owns the lumber company down there, he knows it too. So I thought I'd fix him up a big old pie and go down there and talk to him about building a hotel for me. Well, y'all, I put on one of my nice church dresses and hat. And when I made his pie, Mr. Orr's pie, I made it special. Oh, yes, Sugar. When I say I made it special, instead of just filling it up where you should stop at, honey, I brought it all the way up to the rim. So when he would cut it, he would get some nice thick pieces. Oh, he loved that. Anyway, I went down there and I knocked on the door and he said, who is it? And I said, it's Maggie, Mr. Orr, and I got something for you. He said, well, come on in here, Maggie. I'm busy. And then be on your way. I said, now hold on, Mr. Orr. I got something I want to ask you. I brought you this pie, though, and I made it, the chess pies, just the way you like it. I filled it up to the top so you get some nice thick pieces. And he said, now, thank you, Maggie, be on your way. And I said, now, hold on, Mr. Orr. I want to ask you something. What would it take for you to build a hotel that would accommodate folks like me, a colored hotel? Well, y'all, Mr. Orr didn't like that idea at all. He asked me, was I crazy? Had I lost my mind? I didn't like it, but I couldn't say nothing to this white man. I just had to stand there and take it. But this is what got me. He said, anyway, Maggie, who in the world would want to stay at a colored hotel? Frowning down at me. And I thought to myself, I can't talk back. But I'm going to come up with something before I leave out this door. And what I did is when I got to the door, I turned around and I said, now, Mr. Orr, You'd enjoy that good pie I made you. I filled it up to the top so you get those nice thick pieces the way you like it. But I want to tell you this, Mr. Orr. Colored folks would stay in a colored hotel. We want somewhere safe and decent, just like you do when you travel. And I tell you this, whoever got the mind to do it, they're going to make them some money. Now you have a good day and I'll be on my way. Sugar, before I could get out that door good, Mr. Orr called me back. Maggie! I said, yes, sir. He dug around in this old drawer and he brought out some papers and he said, take these papers home to your husband and have him to sign them. And we'll talk about building that hotel. Oh, glory. Y'all talking about happy. Oh, I ran home. All people were pointing. I didn't care. I let them point at me. Because when I got in my house, y'all, I began talking to the Lord. Oh, yes, now. I talked to the Lord a little bit, and then I talked to Henry. Oh, I talked to the Lord a little bit more, and then I talked to Henry. Woo, child. I was talking to the Lord, and I was talking to Henry. Well, that night, I got them papers signed. Oh, I couldn't wait to go down to Mr. Orr so I could take him those signed papers. And when I got to his office, I took them and I put them on his desk just like it. He picked them up and he looked them over. He said, Maggie, everything looks to be in order. I believe we can build that hotel. Oh, glory, you're talking about happy. Oh, I took off running again. And when I got in my house, Lord, I said, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Woo, now I can help my people. I can give them a safe and decent place to stay. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Woo, forgive me, Lord. Forgive me. Oh, mercy. Oh, I forgot to share with y'all. Henry had been dead for 4 years, so I signed his name on that paperwork so I could get my hotel built. Folks like Cab, Calloway, Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, Mom Mabley, you name it, they came here and stayed at my hotel. And they stayed here a lot of times because they was on the chitlin circuit. I'm sure y'all know about the chitlin circuit, don't you? You don't know about the chitlin circuit, baby? Well, let me tell you about the chitlin circuit. It ain't a plate of them stinky hog innerings, if that's what you're thinking of. Baby. It ain't that. It ain't that at all. The chitlin circuit was like a modern-day underground railroad of sorts. If you was on the chitlin circuit, there'll be people that want to hear your kind of music, see your kind of dance on the chitlin circuit. On the chitlin circuit, you find places that would take you in. I can't believe y'all don't know nothing about the chitlin circuit. Do you know about this? The Green Book. We're on page 14 in this book. Well, if you know about the Green Book, then you should know about the chitlin circuit. It ain't nothing but the chitlin circuit written down, baby. This way you know where you could go and where you could stay and have a safe place that you could stay at. Baby, if I could see page 14, I would show you the hotel, but I can't see. I don't have my glasses on. But Kentucky, ooh. And you might could see on there the hotel. Sometimes they called it the Metropolitan House. Is it on there? Yes, sugar. And that's the reason why a lot of colored folks came through here. But I tell you another reason why a lot of colored folks came here to the hotel. See, when they was here in Paducah, Kentucky, Honey, they couldn't wait to come to the Hotel Metropolitan. You see, when they came here, they got to come through the front door, sugar. There wasn't none of that back door stuff here. I treated my folks with dignity and respect. That's why they love coming to see Miss Maggie.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in this evening. We are now joined live with Miss Betty Dobson. Thank you for joining us this evening. So we would love for you all to ask any questions that you may have about the Hotel Metropolitan. We did give you a brief tour, but there is so much more to see here in the museum. And Miss Betty, do you mind telling us a little bit more about what all is housed here at the Hotel Metropolitan?
Well, there is a lot of things housed here at the Hotel Metropolitan. We have artwork of local African American artists that you could come and see. There's
furnishings throughout the hotel that are unique, that has a special story, pictures that are hanging on the walls, and posters that can tell you a lot. There's just a lot of reasons to come to the Hotel Metropolitan.
We do have a question. How long was the hotel in operation?
The Hotel Metropolitan was in operation from about 1908 until 1999 when it was condemned.
And how did you get involved with this project?
I got involved with this project because of my daughter, who wanted to go to a liquor store one evening to get candy. And from that, I didn't want her to go to the liquor store. Not that I thought that it was a horrible place to go to. I just thought it wasn't sending the best message. And so, at any rate, we set up a portable cabin on the vacant lot across from the Hotel Metropolitan. And that's when we learned that the hotel was condemned and all these famous people stayed here. And that's how I got involved 20 years ago.
That is wonderful. Would you happen to know how much it cost to build the hotel?
During Maggie's time?
Yes.
Okay. It cost her $1,200 to have the hotel built.
And would you happen to know like how the white people felt about the hotel? Was there any feelings from them?
I really don't know how the white population felt about the Hotel Metropolitan because it was a segregated era, Jim Crow. So they really weren't allowed here. You know, there was not mingling of the races weren't allowed during that time.
And do you mind talking a little bit about the rooms that we saw in the video upstairs?
Sure, I would love to talk about the rooms upstairs. The first room that you would come to, that was the Ike and Tina Turner room. And not only did Ike and Tina Turner stay in that particular room, Satchel Paige stayed in that room as well. And across the way in room number 2, Thurgood Marshall stayed in that room. Louis Armstrong stayed in that room. And Jesse Owens stayed in room number 1. And then in room number 3, the Ikettes stayed in that room. Well, actually, the Ikettes stayed in room 2 and 3 because the rooms were adjoined. And so they stayed in both of those rooms. And Ella Fitzgerald stayed in that room, room number 3. And they said Josh Gibson stayed in room 3.
Oh, wow. So much rich history right here in Paducah.
That's right.
We do have a question from a viewer, and they asked, was the hotel condemned, and when and how did it become a museum?
Yes, the hotel was condemned. In fact, it was condemned in 1999. The hotel actually closed about 96. And then it was condemned in 1999. And it took us about 8 years, the Uppertown Heritage Foundation, to restore the hotel.
Very nice. Would you happen to know off the top of your head if there are any other hotels listings in the Green Book here in Western Kentucky?
There were several places. Not only would you find hotels that would be listed in the Green Book, there would be homes that were listed in the Green Book as well. And there were several homes here in Paducah that opened their doors to people, travelers when they came through. But there was a Jefferson Hotel that took in people, and I think they were also listed for a year or two in the Green Book. And the Atlas Hotel was another that was here in Paducah and for African Americans.
Wow, that is so wonderful. And the Green Book is so important for African American travelers going throughout the United States, just for them to have a place that they knew that they could be safe and treated fairly.
That's right.
Miss Betty, what's your favorite story from the life of the hotel?
I can't have a favorite story. There's too many favorites to pull one out of the hat. I love them all, and they just seem to keep on coming. So I don't have a favorite. I love them.
Well, as we saw in the video, you gave the tour as Maggie Sneed.
Steed.
Excuse me, Sneed.
Right.
Why do you think it's important to give the tour as Maggie?
Well, I think it's important that I portray Maggie giving the tour because I was involved in the hotel's, restoral, and I could feel Maggie's desire to want something better for her people. In fact, in the Golden Jubilee of Colored Baptists in Kentucky, they came and stayed at the hotel about 1908. And they recorded her as saying that she just wanted something better for her people. And when we did this project, that's what we were hoping to do, is to give something better to our people, so that they'll know their history and know that they came from much more than just slavery. They have a great story, something to really be proud of. Upstairs, there was the room where the U.S. colored heavy artillery. So many families are listed on that roster who are still in this community today. They have every reason to be proud and not just think that they were slaves, but they were valuable, courageous, enduring people. And we have a lot to be proud of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Miss Betty, do you have any future plans for the hotel, or any projects that are going to be coming in the future or that you would like to start?
Well, there are many projects that I would like to do with the hotel, but with the current pandemic going on, that puts a lot of things on hold. But the one thing that I must say that I have to do is that I have to look for a predecessor, someone that will have the passion and joy that I have had over the years with the hotel. I'm not planning on leaving soon, but I know in order for the hotel to have a future, that you have to bring others on board to keep things going. And so that probably is my biggest endeavor, is to find maybe a future director that will come in and take things. So
it never hurts to plan ahead, that's
No.
for sure. We do have another viewer question. What are some other contributions of African Americans to the community of Paducah?
Could you say that again, please?
Sure. What are some other contributions of African Americans to the community of Paducah?
Well, when I think of others who have made contributions to it from Paducah, uh, I think of her name. I'm going to say Clarence Big House Gaines, first of all, because Mr. Gaines and his family um, owned the hotel, and Coach Gaines donated the hotel to the Uppertown Heritage Foundation. So he is one person that I love talking about. Another is Miss Hammock, Velma Hammock. The lady was before her time. She was a mortician and owner of a funeral home and operated in like 3 states. And I think she, at the time when I interviewed her in 1994, she told me that her business at that time was the oldest African American owned business in Kentucky.
Wow.
Yeah. And another person to talk about is Fate Marable. Fate Marable discovered Louis Armstrong. And then another Paducahan, um, Boyd Atkins, wrote a song that helped to make Louis famous, Heebie Jeebie. Another famous Paducahan that we don't hear a lot of, I'm going to tell you two more and then I'll shut up. Another one is Alice Denikin. Now, Miss Denikin wasn't originally from Paducah, but she moved here from Russellville and became the first female African American, actually, to become a part of the press corps, the White House press corps. And she attended school and was a teacher out at West Kentucky. And, I claim her because she spent her formidable years here in Paducah. And so, and she was a dear friend of Miss Velma Hammock. She talked about her regularly. And then lastly, another person I wanted to speak about is Monte Sleep Jr. Monte Sleep Jr., again, is not a real Paducah native, but his father was the Monte Sleep Sr. was the business manager for West Kentucky Community or vocational school at that time. And his son, Monte, had a love for cameras. So he took pictures. He took pictures at West Kentucky, Lincoln High School. He went on to become a Pulitzer Prize winning photographer. And he was pretty much reared here in Paducah, staying in the community, spending summers here. Paducah has so much history and has made such great contributions in the area of music, so many things. I'll be quiet now.
Oh, that is wonderful. You just dropped some knowledge on me for sure.
Oh, good.
So we appreciate that. We have one more viewer question, and he asks, were there any jam sessions that happened between the musicians as they stayed at the hotel?
Are you kidding, baby? Yes, there were always jam sessions going on. And we have a building out back called the Purple Room. And when I first heard of the Purple Room, before we did construction, there was a hideous purple room upstairs. In fact, it was room number 3. But I thought, how in the world could they perform in this one little room? And the gentleman who was telling me the story, Reverend Hodge, he said, "No, sugar, there's a building out back and it's called the Purple Room." And sure enough, we went into this out building. It had a lot of lumber in it, a lot of stuff, but it had this beautiful purple wall. And underneath all of those pieces of lumber was a beautiful handmade bar. And then behind it, we didn't even know this, there was this beautiful glass that sits on the back. And then again, the bar was just made into the wall. beautiful. And I thought then, man, if these walls could talk, the
Yes.
story. Count Basie, I know, was out there. Ike and Tina Turner was out there. You know, the B.B. King sat on the front porch, but you know, he was out there too.
Yes, yes. Well, Miss Betty, we thank you so much for taking the time to give us a tour of the Hotel Metropolitan and answering our questions for us. We know that people have been enlightened tonight, and we do hope that you all will travel to Western Kentucky to see this gym whenever we open up a little bit more in tours and can be taken. So thank you so much for your time, Miss Betty.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome.